The island of Borneo. A biological powerhouse, giving rise to the bountiful and the bizarre. At its heart, the Kinabatangan River snakes its way through this biological wonderland. Fueled by seasonal monsoons, it is a 5 trillion gallon force of nature. From mountaintop cloud forests, through floodplains, and ultimately into the Sulu Sea. This is Borneo's secret kingdom. Borneo, equatorial, straddling 2 oceans. A verdant tropical island of uniqueness and diversity. And never more diverse than where its great river slows to sprawl through expansive wetlands. And into the Sulu Sea. Clouds are gathering. Clouds that can dump 6 inches of rain in a single hour. The long-awaited wet season has arrived, bringing a boon for some, but peril for others. To survive here, you have to rule your swamp. Against a backdrop of coastal forest, the 2 great forces of river and sea converge. Here, fresh floodwaters and salt-laden tidal surges clash in a war of water. The effects of the tide can be felt as much as 30 miles upstream. When the wet season reaches full swing, riverbanks will burst, submerging almost the entire lower Kinabatangan. Some, like the proboscis monkey, escape the flooding simply by getting above it all. From his kingdom in the canopy, this dominant male presides over a harem of females. His status was won by a nose. Over twice the size of a human's, he's got the biggest nose around. While its size affirms his superiority, it's also an echo chamber for his calls. And when he calls, the troop listens. Females have short and snubby noses, but they can't resist the pendulous proboscis of the dominant male. He must remain vigilant. There's always competition sniffing around. Groups of bachelor males wait in the wings for a chance to dethrone him. Some of his females are lagging behind on the opposite bank. A bachelor splits off and moves in. Time for a demonstration of the dominant male's authority. Cracking branches helps draw attention to his display. The bachelor persists until he's faced by the full force of his opponent. The Monkey King is a wall of muscle and teeth. The bachelor backs off. And the troop regroups. Several females and their young make up his harem. And like some other primates, it takes a village to raise a child. While it's mom's job to suckle, all the females chip in with grooming and childcare. Which means there's always someone to lend a hand. Proboscis families like to look out for each other. Soon enough, young ones work up the confidence to explore. But not without risk. This jungle gym is suspended 50 feet above the ground. A fall from this height could be fatal. But testing their limits in this way is how they'll learn. With growing confidence, they'll get more adventurous. Their 30-foot leaps exceed the longest human jump on record. Few are more impressive than the Monkey King himself. His fingers and toes are elongated to form grappling hooks, but thumbs are reduced to stubs to ensure they don't get caught when careening through the canopy. A tail as long as his body acts as a counterweight in flight to steady his approach. And extra long legs deliver the leaping power. Calls help keep the group together as they move through the trees. A strategy they share with another swamp dweller. Smooth-coated otters live alongside proboscis monkeys, all the way to the Sulu Sea. What they lack in size, they make up for with volume. This is a family group of parents and their offspring. Smell, as well as sound, is vital to communication. Latrines are strategically placed above floodwaters and used to define territory. In the otter world, your inheritance may be a toilet site, passed down through several generations. On land, the group indulges in some grooming. They've got 2 layers of fur to look after, a dense undercoat that traps air, and a top coat of long, waterproof guard hairs. A bad hair day will increase drag in the water, making it harder to chase prey. One of the team needs a quick pit stop before the hunt resumes. Cheeks bristling with whiskers sense vibrations and guide them to their quarry, while clawed paws grasp slippery fish. Superbly adapted to life in the water, the rising river levels pose little threat to the otters. Ironically, it's the river's largest predator who has the most to lose. This female saltwater crocodile is nest guarding a pile of vegetation that incubates her developing eggs. What threatens her young now is something she's unable to protect against. The swamp forests have given her ideal nesting materials, shade and prey. But being low-lying, when heavy rainfall and tides meet, this will be one of the first areas to flood. Her nest and some 50 undeveloped embryos could be washed away to their death. And a reptilian relative on the prowl doesn't make things any easier. An Asian water monitor is following a chemical scent trail, guided by his forked tongue. Different chemical loads on each fork indicate a smell's direction. So sensitive is this capacity, it's thought monitors can detect food 7 miles away. He's discovered the female croc's nest, and there's no sign of her. His appetite for eggs may spell the end of her precious clutch. Messing with a 330-pound crocodile mom is not a good idea. At the water's edge, the monitor encounters another cue. A dead pig upriver. Posing less of a risk than nest raiding, the monitor goes into scavenger mode. While the monitor's distraction is good for Mother Crocodile, she has other problems. Rising tides have converged with floodwaters. Soon, water will be lapping at the base of her nest. Among the most maternal of reptiles, this is one mother who won't quit. For 80 days, she's kept watch over her nest. But now it's a race against time for her eggs. The rain has eased, and the first of the hatchlings makes its move. In preparation for life outside, its yolk sac has been drawn into its abdomen. A toughened horn-like piece of skin has developed on their snouts for this one moment in their lives. The young use this egg tooth to cut their way out. Its sole purpose served, it will be reabsorbed in the next few weeks. They cry to mom. Spurred on by their calls, she gently opens the nest. One final push, and they're free. But there's little time for a breather. In their dash from the nest to the safety of the water, the hatchlings must cross the favored hunting grounds of a night predator. A buffy fish owl patrols the water's edge. A neck capable of almost a full rotation ensures no opportunity escapes his sight. They may be new to life on the river, but the crocodile hatchlings are already in danger. Few predators stand a chance against a mature croc. But this small, they are ideal prey. A miss. The hatchling reaches the safety of deeper water. Better get a move on. Clear moonlight will only improve the hunter's aim. Internal structures in an owl's eyes act as mirrors, meaning it can register each bit of light twice, which provides night vision up to 100 times better than a human's. As a fish hunter, he has no need for the silent flight feathers other owls have. What the buffy lacks in stealth, he makes up for with angling adaptations. His legs are featherless, making them perfect for plunging into water. Long curved talons form pseudo-tridents. From a perch at the water's edge, he begins his surveillance. Ripples give away the position of his target. He blinks at the moment of impact. But this is one fish that will not get away. On this, and many nights to come, he will be watching. As they begin to explore their surroundings, the young crocodiles will run into many predators. Even an uber mother like the female croc can't safeguard her young from every threat. On their own, only about 1% of the hatchlings survive to maturity. But there is a sheltered nursery nearby. Spanning an area larger than Singapore, the Kinabatangan-Segama Wetlands is a world where nature still calls the shots. Here, the young crocs may join some of last year's hatchlings. A bounty of insects, crabs, and fish will provide the fuel for these pint-sized predators to become monsters. From a mere 2 ounces at the time of hatching, some will experience a 20,000-fold increase in body mass. But this nursery is not without its own set of challenges. Here, salinity swings between fresh river water and full-strength seawater. Estuarine crocodiles are built for such conditions. Special glands on their tongues are capable of excreting a salt solution 4 times more concentrated than their blood. A dense network of mangrove roots provides a place to hide from predators. Few plants have been more successful than mangroves in colonizing the battleground between river and sea. Some store salt in leaves that drop off when concentrations get too high. Below, in oxygen-poor mud, roots grow upward, acting like snorkels to take in air. Their labyrinth of roots traps nutrient-rich sediments, making this one of the most productive of river ecosystems. Though productive, mangrove trees are packed with poisons, which means they're off limits for most leaf eaters. Proboscis monkeys are one of the few mammals able to dine on this toxic fare. They have overdeveloped saliva glands that produce copious amounts of spit, a buffer to keep stomach acids in check. Or stomachs, for theirs is divided into 4. Each chamber is filled with a potent digestive bacteria that act like a production line to turn toxic into tasty. The final ingredient is time, 50 hours worth of digestion, which explains their pot bellies. Proboscis monkeys have found a way of coping with the toxic concentrations in their mangrove food. But those creatures that live in and around the mangrove mudflats have more to cope with than indigestion. Exposed by tides for several hours each day, these wetlands transform into terra firma. No place for a fish. But these are no ordinary fish. Enter the mud skippers. In preparation for life on land, these fish have had to make a few changes. Their enlarged gill chambers can lock shut, keeping their gills bathed in water. Affording them around 6 minutes of air between refills. Body rolls help fight dehydration. But it's their solution to the challenge of getting around that has earned them their name. Mud skippers can launch themselves into jumps of more than half a yard. The pectoral fins have become muscular forelimbs for walking around. Eyes perched on top of their head are periscopes that can detect danger from any direction. It is thought that the ancestors of mudskippers emerged from the water to feast on insects. When it comes to this family, it doesn't get much larger than the giant mudskipper, almost 8 inches in length. He's not just big, he's eager for a bust-up. Males are responsible for creating breeding burrows. And once their work is done, and they have claimed their territory, it's time to lure a female into the new home. But competitors live just next door. Females moving through the patchwork of suitors trigger a dance-off. Flashy fin displays and jumps intimidate rivals and entice potential mates. Groves of impenetrable nipa palm intersperse the mudskipper's tidal territory. Nipa have evolved to survive the ever-changing conditions of the coastal forest. It's thought slow strokes of the tide pump air through spaces in its roots, allowing the plant to breathe. Thriving where freshwater flows into tidal mudflats. It's the only palm in the world that can live alongside mangroves. Nipa is a relative of all other palms, with fossils dating from 112 million years ago. Their distribution spread as far as the clay soils of London. The Nipa palm is a living testament to resilience and home to a diverse assemblage of life. But in this part of the world, it's the mangroves that are the powerhouse of procreation. They shelter not just river life, but visitors from the sea. An estimated 90% of marine species rely on mangroves for at least one stage of their life cycle. Hiding in a tangle of roots, new life waits to move out of the nursery. With saltwater crocs on the prowl, some will never make it. The richness of the nursery provides the nutrition these young crocs need to grow. In just a month, hatchlings disperse over 5 miles as they explore their surroundings. Those that have been here for some time may be ready to travel much further. One of Mother Croc's young from a previous season heads towards the mouth of the Kinabatangan. We are only just beginning to understand this river monster's mastery of the open ocean. Saltwater crocs ride the currents. Vast distances are covered by going with the flow when the current is in their favor, and dropping down when the water swings against them. On the vast mud plains that lie beyond the meeting of river and sea, survival takes strategy. A mimic octopus blends in. Others advertise a toxic nature, or line their bodies with venomous spines. When it comes to murder in the muck, few compare to the stomatopods. Concealed in its burrow, a tiger mantis shrimp eyes up its victims. These are considered the world's most sophisticated eyes. Mounted on mobile stalks that move independently of each other, each eye holds tens of thousands of photoreceptor cells and is split into 3 regions. As all 3 regions are seeing simultaneously, the mantis views the world from 6 different perspectives. Precision targeting and a spear that can be thrown in the blink of an eye makes this one shrimp you don't want to mess with. Passing over the muck, the young croc surfs into beds of seagrass. These seagrass meadows could not exist without the mangroves that filter sediments from the river and release nutrients. In turn, seagrass meadows provide food for another great ocean-going reptile, a green sea turtle. Turtles cross oceans in search of food. Some are returning to these seas after migrations of over 1,000 miles. Instinct guides them back to their birthplace. More species of marine life occur here than anywhere else on the planet. It's a place where manta rays come to be cleaned. Where clownfish lay their eggs in the protection of anemones. And where turtles complete an ancient ritual. This female is returning home for the first time in over 25 years. She has come back to the very beach on which she, her mother, and even her grandmother were born on. Like the croc, the female turtles are timing their movements by the tides. Emerging around high tide ensures her chosen nesting site won't be flooded. This spot has passed the test. She removes dry sand that would collapse into the burrow. Switching to her back flippers, she prepares the egg chamber itself. An hormonally induced trance-like state sees her through labor. Though only depositing 2 or 3 eggs at a time, in total, she'll lay almost 200 tonight. When she's done, she carefully rakes sand over the nest. A few final sweeps for camouflage completes her finishing touches. She'll be long gone by the time the eggs hatch. After around 60 days, the first hatchling rips open its leathery eggshell. And its movement stimulates others to begin hatching. Within 12 hours, the whole clutch has awakened. They collaboratively rise to the surface. Thrashing together, they dislodge sand from the walls of their nest chamber, which builds up on the floor and raises the hatchlings. After breaking free, the hatchlings face a new challenge. From a perspective of just 2 inches off the ground, they have to find the sea. After a few orientations, they're off, instinct guiding them towards the light reflecting off the surface of the ocean. They must reach the relative safety of deeper waters within the next 2 hours. For this is about as long as they'll be able to sustain the sprint of their lives. Survivors get to the water, battle the surf, and cross over the shallows as quickly as they can. Because here, predatory reef fish wait to snap them up. When they hit the sea, hatchlings enter a hardwired swimming frenzy. They are swimming for their lives, but as many as 30% won't make it past the reef edge. For this croc, hatchlings and their parents are fair game. Saltwater crocs have been known to swim out to nesting islands for an easy meal before returning to their territories. But he's been at sea for long enough. He's heading back to the river that first gave him life. There, if he survives, he may become king of the Kinabatangan. From fish that walk on land, to monkeys that navigate toxic forests, and floodwaters that inundate, this domain is a test for survival. For crocs that rule the river, this is a world worth fighting for. Borneo's secret kingdom.